Hi, it's Ashleigh from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and welcome back to my channel where I make a lot of cake and cookie decorating tutorials as well as give a lot of baking business tips. And welcome to 25 days of cupcake decorating. This is Vlogmas Day 2. And today we're going to be making this adorable snowman cupcake with a fondant topper and Italian meringue buttercream underneath. I am not going to be showing you how I make the buttercream in this tutorial, so definitely go and check out my buttercream series in the right-hand corner. These are the fondant colors I end up using. You don't have to use the blue, but you will need the yellow and red to make orange, or you can just have orange fondant. I've pre-mixed all my fondant today, which makes it much easier to control and manipulate. What I like to do is add a good amount of shortening in there just so it's pliable enough and I can leave it out in the open air without it drying up on me. The base of this fondant figure is obviously a ball because we need to make a snowball essentially out of the white fondant. Now when you're making a ball, this can be a little bit tricky, especially if you aren't used to rolling these. You have to use a good amount of pressure so it stays nice and smooth. If you find you're still getting cracks in there no matter how much you roll it, add a little bit more shortening and really squish it together. By the way, I should mention you can use homemade fondant to make these figures, but I find it so much easier to just go with a pre-made fondant. Satin ice is one of my favorite. I'm using a mix today of satin ice and some grocery store fondant that I picked up. Use a toothpick, or I'm using a lollipop stick, which I'm going to stick right in the center of the base of the ball and then place another ball on top. This ball on top will actually not stay a ball. We're going to cut off the top half. This is to make room for the snowman's toque. Now you could just do a snowman without a hat or a toque, in which case you can just leave it as those two white balls stacked on top of each other. I'm placing another half of a ball on top to be the hat. I know it looks a little bit strange right now, but all you need to do is add on a trim, and I'm using a pastry cutter, which I love to use whenever I need fondant strips. Keeps things super even and makes things really, really easy. Everything is being stuck on today with water. You can use a steamer to do this, but I find with small fondant figures like this, it's too small, and if I steam it, it ends up overwhelming the entire figure and everything gets too sticky. So water and a paintbrush will do the trick. Now it's time to make the scarf, again using my handy dandy pastry cutter, and you'll notice too that I'm not rolling this out too thin. We do want it to be thick-ish as if it were fabric. I always try to make things slightly realistic. I call it realism mixed with cartooniness because you're not really making it realistic, but you still need to have some realism so that it is believable. I don't show this part here, but I actually end up adding a bunch of indents to the scarf just so it looks like it's floating in the wind a little bit more. Now moving on to the nose, you pretty much take a ball and you smooth it out into a cone shape, and take any tool you want. You don't have to use this fancy little cake cutting tool like I am. You could honestly use anything. Don't make the carrot too long because then it makes it impossible to actually adhere properly. If you do want a really long carrot nose, you will need to stick a little bit of wire in there or a small toothpick. I really like it when the eyes are really nice and big and have little glints in them. I do a couple of different styles of eyes throughout the 25 days of cupcake decorating, so this is another style that you can use. Take a ball of black fondant, cut it in half so that your eyes are equal, and then make smaller balls and press them into your face. Now if you ask me, if you just leave it at the black, it looks a little scary, so we add on these white portions. Make two different size circles, so we want a larger one and a smaller one. The fondant figures do really well outside of the fridge, but they can also go in the fridge as well. Just make sure there's not a whole lot of moisture in there. Using a nice big round tip, I'm just going to create some fluffy snow and add on some white sprinkles. I really have dropped the ball on all of my Christmas sprinkles this year. Usually I buy a ton of different ones and it's super exciting, but I am just behind. But I always have white sprinkles on hand because they are incredibly versatile. Place your fondant figure on top. You do need to give it a little bit of time to dry, but honestly, if you have the right fondant texture, it dries pretty quickly. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading every single day for Vlogmas, and if you're sad that this video is over, be sure to go and head to my podcast with Alia, the Bake Down podcast, where we are reacting to 25 days of baking fails. Bye!